The book, Chapter 6. Home as a Stewardship. Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. Exodus 11, verse 9. For look how many souls in thy house be, with just as many souls God trusteth thee. Yes and no. Because they're not remembering all of the facts and figures of social mathematics. The Christian home is a stewardship. The parents are stewards of God. A steward is a servant of a particular kind to whom the master commits a certain portion of his interest to be prosecuted in his name and by his authority and according to his laws and regulations. The steward must act according to the will of his master in his dealing with what is committed to his care. Such was Eliezer in the house of Abraham, and such was Joseph in the house of Potiphar. One of the specific duties of a steward was to dispense portions of food to the different members of the household, to give servants their portion in due season, and to superintend the general interest of the master's household. In a religious sense, a steward is a minister of Christ, which means Savior, whose duty is to dispense the provisions of the gospel, to preach its doctrines, and to administer its ordinances. It is required of such that they be found faithful. 1 Corinthians chapter 4. In its application to the Christian home, it expresses its relation to the subordination to God and the kind of service which the former must render to the latter. The stewardship of home is that official character with which God has invested in the family. The stewardship of home is that official character of which God has invested the family. In this sense, the proprietorship of parents is from God. They are invested only with delegated authority. Their home is held by them only in trust. It belongs to them in the same sense in which a household belongs to a steward. It is not at their absolute disposal. It is the household of the Lord, and they are to live and rule therein as the Lord directs. They are to appropriate it and dispose of its interest according to the known law and will of their divine master, and in this sense yield with their whole household a voluntary subordination to his authority. As a stewardship, God has entrusted the Christian home with important interest. He has committed to her trust, body and soul, talents and means of grace. He has entrusted to the parents the training of their children both for time and for eternity. These children are the heritage of the Lord. They are not at the absolute disposal of their parents, but merely entrusted to their care to be educated and dealt with according to the will of God. May we ponder these things to figure stuff out for ourselves, our families, for civility, for society, and yes, even for our nation as we continue to go forth in peaceful tranquility. Have a great day.